The reading for this morning is Matthew chapter 28, verses 1 through 10. After the Sabbath, as the first day of the week was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the tomb. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord, descending from heaven, came and rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothing white as snow. For fear of him, the guards shook and became like dead men. But the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid. I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he has been raised, as he said. Come, see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples he has been raised from the dead, and indeed he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him. This is my message for you." So they left the tomb quickly with fear and great joy and ran to tell the disciples. Suddenly Jesus met them and said, "Greetings." And they came to him, took hold of his feet, and worshipped him. Then Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me." He's not here. A sermon for Easter Sunday, April 12th. He's not here. I should probably say at the outset that yes, I am aware that the title of my sermon is also the name of a popular bar just off Franklin Street in Chapel Hill. No, I've never been there. Yes, I know the story of how the bar got its name. Supposedly Michael Jordan would hang out there when he was a student at UNC, and the bar would receive a volume of calls inquiring about whether Jordan was there. So many calls, in fact, that the bartenders began answering the phone. He's not here. No, I have no idea whether that's a true story or not. In any event, I think it is extraordinarily and extremely unlikely that the namers of the local bar had a Bible verse from the Gospel of Matthew about the resurrection of Jesus in mind. Picture this. It's 2,000 years ago. An unlikely community has formed, knitted together by the wisdom and the leadership and the love of a man named Jesus. This community includes women and men, laborers and fishermen, the poor and the marginalized, those who are ill in body or in mind or in spirit. This community includes tax collectors, sex workers, outcasts and castaways. It includes zealots and activists and freedom fighters. And this unlikely community is brought together by a teacher and leader who sees in them the image of the divine, who tells them that the kingdom of heaven is theirs, who loves unconditionally and offers healing, who offers a vision of liberation from oppression. And then the authorities come and put this community's beloved leader, beloved teacher, beloved friend to death. He is accused and condemned and executed for disturbing the peace, for disturbing the Pax Romana, which is, truth be told, not peaceful at all. In response to this immense loss, this tremendous disappointment, this unbearable grief, Jesus' closest followers, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary, commit to carrying out an act of love, an act of witness, an act of devotion, an act of grieving. They go to the tomb where Jesus had been laid to retrieve the body, to anoint it with oil and herbs, to tend to its brokenness in a dignified and loving way. This act of theirs is extraordinarily human. It is an act of showing personalized reverence and care for the body of a loved one. We might imagine that one of those layers of grief, among all the layers of grief that we are processing right now, is that whenever there is mass death, there is this sense of grief over the inability to attend to mortal remains in the same way at this time. That's just one of the layers of grief that we're all dealing with. Mary Magdalene and the other Mary go to carry out this act of love and witness and devotion. And there at the tomb they find an angel who shakes the ground, rolls away the stone, shows them the empty tomb, and announces, "He's not here. He's not here." There's been a lot written comparing and juxtaposing the image of the empty tomb of Easter with the empty church this Easter. The empty tomb and the empty church. It's an imperfect metaphor, to be sure, but there are also some resonances. In one obvious way, both the empty tomb and the empty church mark a massive disruption of the familiar and the expected. Both the empty tomb and the empty church mark a massive disruption of the familiar and the expected. All I'll really say about that is that some of us are change enthusiasts who go through life with flexibility and openness to change. Others of us are change reactionaries. We will fight against and resist change with all of our strength. Most of us are somewhere in the middle. Some changes we embrace, and others we chafe against. Right now, we are going through a period of massive change. It is a surprising time. And this year, I think the empty church is that symbol of this massive change that we all are going through right now. In another way, both the empty tomb and the empty church are an affirmation of life. The empty tomb is an affirmation of the life of a movement, a way of being together, a way of the spirit that is not conquered by death. The empty church, likewise, is an affirmation of life. We're not all meeting together at this time because we want health and life for all of us in our church, and we want health and life for the wider community beyond our walls, of which we are a part. In that way, the empty tomb and the empty church can both be taken as symbols of life. There's a third similarity that I see between the empty tomb and the empty church. The empty tomb is a message that the vision and power and truth of Jesus' message will not die with his death. In fact, his spirit lives on, stronger than ever, victorious even over death. And here's the thing about the empty church. The vision and power and truth and impact of our church is not equal to the number of people who come and sit in the pews on Easter Sunday. The sanctuary may be empty this morning, but the church is full. The sanctuary may be empty, but the church is full. And I don't mean just on Zoom and YouTube and Facebook, as wonderful as it is to reconnect with community during the week and each Sunday on Zoom and YouTube and Facebook. No. Just as the tomb is empty and the sanctuary is empty, but love is full, and the church is full right now. The church is full with our members who are calling on one another, who are checking in with one another, who are offering to get groceries for one another, who are asking, "Are you okay?" The church is full with people reaching out to comfort and console one another. The church is full with the giving of financial assistance to help all of us get by. The church is full right now. It's full with those people sewing masks and bringing cans to the food pantry. The church is full in holding collections for Table and Habitat for Humanity. The church is full with our members who take care of the sick, the hungry, the homeless, the incarcerated. And if you think I'm just speaking in platitudes and generalizations, no, I mean that literally. We have members of our church who are literally involved with the exoneration of the unjustly convicted. We have members of our church who are literally involved with the decarceration efforts in Durham to help reduce the threat of COVID-19 to those who are in prison. We have members who are literally involved with programs to end cash bail in Orange County. And we have members literally involved in the planning efforts to provide for the homeless and the hungry during this time of pandemic. Jesus talked about taking care of the sick and the hungry and the homeless and the incarcerated and those who grieve and those who are poor of spirit. We are literally doing that as a church. Our church is full. The sanctuary may be empty, but the church is full of people living their faith, including many of us who are living our faith by staying home and by being still and by encouraging public health so that all of us may live. The reading with which we began the service this morning, our opening words were by Sarah Moores Campbell, and they ended with this blessing. May we push away the stone and invite the light to awaken us to possibilities within and among us, possibilities for new life in ourselves and in our world. May that be so. And may those possibilities for new life in ourselves and in our world show us that our church is full of spirit, full of hope, full of generosity, full of kindness and care, full of heart. Happy Easter. I'm Amen. I love you. I'm with you. Shalom. Until we meet again, shalom.